Hey, welcome to summer 2019 MCS 342. I'm Professor Kessler. I'm getting over a cold, so my voice is a little lower today. Um, Welcome. It's going to be a breakneck 5 weeks. Keep in mind, we're going to be doing 10 weeks of content in 5 weeks, so it's kind of I describe it as a sprint and a marathon. You've got a lot to do, and it comes at you fast. Not as fast as people who do it in the intercession. You can see a kitty right here. That is Vincent, actually Vincent de Paul. There are two other cats that may walk around at any time during this video or any future videos. Anyway, welcome to History of Television and Radio, the online version. I know it's a good way to get in one of your requirements for MCS or for a historical inquiry while you're at home and enjoying your summer. But do keep in mind it's a rigorous course. It's a 300 level course. Because it's a liberal studies course, you have minimum amount of writing that you have to do. So you're gonna have a lot coming at you, and you've got to keep up with it. Our overall goal in this class is for you to learn about the history of broadcasting in the United States. So how we kind of moved from, we end up kind of going from radio to television here, even though it doesn't really move that way. We did have radio and then television, but radio, of course, stayed around. But because of the abbreviated nature of this class, even at the 10-week length, we kind of end up ditching radio once we get to TV. That could be a whole other class about how radio continued after the rise of television. So anyway, we're going to look at what's going on in the industry. We look at what's going on culturally, how those technologies spoke to us as a culture, helped frame us as a culture. How do they help identify us as a culture, help us see ourselves? In what ways were they limited? What did that have to do with the industry, with the economics, with what was going on politically? So all of these things are going to be relevant. Hopefully it'll ask you to think in a little bit more of a complex way about how what you watch today is either reflective of or an evolution of television and radio from an earlier time. Like, how did we get to where we are? What are the kind of complex inner workings that got us there? One of the things that I don't want us to think is that we have this straight line. It wasn't like, hey, somebody invented this tube. Hey, someone invented radio so we could all listen to it. Hey, now someone invented television. It's not about cool guys that invented stuff. It's not just about technologies, but it's about all of these different forces that are in play, pushing things in different directions. And also about thinking about the different ways in which things could have gone based on how different forces were pushing them, or if a different force would have won out at a given time. So, I mean, television is something that so many of us spend so much time on. As a kid, I always say that I watched, I don't think it was weird if I watched 6 hours of TV in a day, as I try to keep my twins from not doing that. I have 7-year-old twins. But we spend so much time impacted by the media that we engage with. I think it's really important for us to think about it. And I think it's really important for us to think about kind of where we came from and how our American image was framed by the media that we experienced. As well, because this is a historical inquiry class, part of what we do in this class is try to think in terms of how histories are being told. Think about this class historiographically, or how that history is kind of created or retold. Who is telling the story? What kind of sources are being used to tell the story? What gets left out when we use specific kinds of sources? Why might specific sources be chosen over others? Why might some be better than others? Especially in your discussion board posts and in your paper. You'll do a paper later on in the in the summer session, where you are interviewing a couple people of different ages about their use of television. Just like you're doing mini oral histories. And then ultimately you're going to kind of analyze those as sources. So throughout the session, you'll be thinking about historical sources, thinking about what kinds of sources you could use, what's beneficial, what's not, what kind of biases might exist within a given source. So it's both about us learning about television industry, television culturally, and also thinking about how these histories are told to us and how we can function as historians. So that's it. I mean, that's our intro. I'm going to be watching stuff over the summer. What do I want to watch? I'm getting ready to watch Pose. I want to watch Glow, and I want to watch When They See Us, but I'm waiting until I can actually focus on it. It's not something I feel like I can watch in the background of something. I'm looking forward to the second season of Big Little Lies and Killing Eve, and I'm slightly embarrassed that I have already started the next season of Grownish. And I'm watching a lot of Golden Girls. So that's my story. Take a look at the calendar, both the one that you can click on the front page, and I have the June calendar right below here in this same discussion board post, just so you get an idea of you've got a lot of things coming at you. The best advice that I can give you is that you need to keep up with the syllabus. Keep an eye on the syllabus. Keep an eye on the calendar. Make sure that you're reading what you're supposed to, that you're doing all of the assignments. Everything has to be turned in on time. The mini exams, the discussion board posts, they cannot be turned in late. The peer responses, they cannot be done late. If they are late, they are zeros. And each missed discussion board post slash peer response, that's down 5% of your overall grade. The same thing with the mini exams. Those are going to be largely objective. They're kind of what, if you were taking this face to face, what the non-essay part of my exams would look like. These aren't blow off quizzes. These are kind of the minutia of the content. You got to read. You've got to listen to the PowerPoints. You've got to watch the screenings, and that's going to be your answers. Each of the mini exams will have one or two kind of short essay answers, which, you should end up writing, a substantive answer. It's not a pages long essay, but a solid paragraph at least. Make sure you address all the parts. Make sure you're being specific. This is about you showing me that you understand the context, the content, and you can make connections. Make sure those are in on time. For every one of those you miss, you're down 5% of your overall grade. You've got a paper to write. You've got a midterm exam, which is 4 essays. You have several days to do it, but keep an eye on the things that are coming up. You also have a final project, which is Pecha Kucha, where you are going to look down there. Also, you have something you need to give me your top suggestions that you want to do your Pecha Kucha on, which are based on a current show. There's specifics about by when you have to have had, I think it says new episodes since 2012. So something that's really reflective of 21st century television, because you're going to be using that to draw on the content throughout the quarter. How do these television shows today, how are they reflective of specifically 21st century television, but how are they also drawing on the history of television? And how are they maybe something that could not have existed before? So you're going to be drawing all of this together in this final project, but you'll essentially do it in PowerPoint, upload that to VoiceThread. I've got tutorials for you. I have detailed assignment sheets online. I'm going to stop talking because you're going to get bored. So what I want you to do is go ahead and look at I'm beeping, right? I want you to go ahead and look at all the materials. You have a quiz over the syllabus and the D2L site. You can take that as many times as you want. Don't be crazy. Some people take it 30 times trying to get a 100 on it. It's worth 2.5% of your grade. If you miss one, it's fine. After the due date, you can go back and look at all the correct answers. You also have an intro discussion board post, which is basically about introducing yourself and talking a little bit about what television is meant to you. Make sure you read the prompt closely, which is the case throughout the quarter. Make sure you read all your prompts closely. But also, that's due on Tuesday. Thursday is your first mini exam, and Friday is your first discussion board post. So you have a lot to do. You have to keep up. The fact that this is a 5-week course makes it a race. Anyway, welcome to summer. Welcome to the class. and I will see you guys online soon. Bye.